The euro fell for the first time in 6 days against the yen as European Union finance ministers gathered for a third meeting this month to try to reach agreement on aid for Greece. The yen rose against all of its 16 major counterparts as a decline in global stocks boosted demand for safer assets and after a technical indicator signaled its recent slide was excessive. Canada's dollar weakened after Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney was named to lead the Bank of England, spurring speculation over who will replace him in Ottawa. Philippines peso rose on wagers for record remittances. Today is critical in terms of reaching the agreement, which is not very much expected, said Vasily Serabriakovi, the currency strategist at BNP Paribas SA in New York. What's interesting with the euro is how it's shown resilience to bad news. The euro declined 0.5% to 106.44 yen at 12:38 p.m. in New York after rising to 107.14 yen, the highest level since April 27. The single currency fell 0.1% to $1.2965 after climbing to $1.2991 on November 23, the strongest since October 31. The yen gained 0.3% to 82.13 per dollar. Canada's dollar fell against most of its major peers and declined from almost a 2-week high versus its U.S. peer as risk appetite waned. The Canadian currency, known as the loonie, weakened 0.1% to 99.43 cents per U.S. dollar. Reserve currency. Carney, Bank of Canada's top official since 2008, was unexpectedly appointed to succeed Mervyn King at the Bank of England. Carney is also head of the Group of 20's Financial Stability Board. It creates tremendous uncertainty for Canada in the sense that we don't know who the next head of the Bank of Canada will be, Camilla Sutton, chief currency strategist in Toronto at Scotiabank, said in a telephone interview. It creates uncertainty, and uncertainty typically isn't very good for currency markets, so I would expect the Canadian dollar to weaken off. The currency got a boost last week after the International Monetary Fund's move to deem the Australian and Canadian dollars reserve assets, bolstering demand even as the commodity boom that drove the currencies to the strongest since at least 2007 loses steam. Britain's pound erased losses versus the euro after the announcement, trading little changed at 80.94 pence per euro. It fetched $1.6018, down 0.1%. Philippine remittances. The Philippine peso rose to a 4-year high of 41 per dollar, according to Tulayprebon PLZ. On speculation, remittances will increase beyond the record reached last month. That is the strongest level since March 11, 2008. More than 9 million Filipinos working abroad sent home $1.84 billion to their families in September, the central bank reported November 15. Remittances, which make up almost 10% of the economy, usually rise toward the end of the year to fund spending for the Christmas and New Year holidays, according to Security Bank Corporation. Japan's currency rallied today as the Stoxx Europe 600 index of shares slid 0.5% and futures on the Standard & Poor's 500 index dropped 0.7%. The 14-day relative strength index for the yen against the dollar touched 30 today after dropping to 25 at the end of last week. The level of 30 is considered a sign an asset's decline has been too rapid. Japan's currency had slumped 3.5% versus the dollar during the previous 2 weeks. Recessionary phase. Minutes of the Bank of Japan's October 30 meeting released today showed the few members of the policy board said the economy entered a recessionary phase, while one indicated the need for new ways to boost price expectations. The BOJ last month increased asset purchases by 11 trillion yen, announced a new lending program and signed a joint statement with the government on ending deflation. Finance chiefs from the single currency bloc started their meeting at 12:30 p.m. in Brussels, less than a week after an all-night gathering failed to yield agreement and days after a European Union summit broke up without a proposed 7-year budget. At stake is the continuation of a 3-year mission to return Greece to financial health. It would be irresponsible not to reach an accord given all the efforts that have been made, French Finance Minister Pierre Moscovici said yesterday on BFM television. A solution is hung up on politics in Germany, the dominant country in Europe's crisis management, where Chancellor Angela Merkel is campaigning for a third term next year on the pledge that Greece won't cost taxpayers an additional cent. Very close. It seems the final agreement for Greece is very close, although this is another measure which kicks the can down the road, said Lee Hardman, the foreign exchange strategist at Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi UFJ Limited in London. Catalan President Artur Mas, who called early elections to force the debate on independence, won 50 of the 135 seats in the Regional Assembly for his Convergencia i Unió party, down from 62. The separatist Catalan Republican Left, known as the ERC, more than doubled its seats to 21 from 10. Two smaller parties that also back a plebiscite secured 16 seats. The euro has weakened 2.3% this year, according to Bloomberg correlation-weighted indexes, which track 10 developed nation currencies. The dollar dropped 2.3%, and the yen slid 9.1%.